One.
I'm gonna say the N-word.
No, you can't do that.
Don't wait for it. Wait for it.
And
Everybody get ready to say mm.
No, you can't do that.
All right, it's the stream's on.
Nigger.
Is it live?
Yeah, it's live.
Hello, everybody, and happy Halloween, and welcome to the Bottom Right Dance Club. Oh God, I've always wanted to say that.
Or in
That
or
is
in
the
Grandma's
gayest
case,
thing I've ever heard.
Power bottom right, a dance club.
But in all seriousness, happy Halloween, everybody. Even in this coof pandemic situation we're in.
And wishing everyone happy Halloween.
Since
I'm
it's Halloween,
sorry.
let's summon a spirit.
For anyone who still trick or treats, I'm sorry. This whole Corona Chan has party pooped on our trick or treating, but what I can do,
Besides
least
the
I can do to make
Karens.
up for it is to throw the stream for everyone, and hope everyone has a spooky, making sure everyone has a spooky night. So, what we're going to start out with is telling each other scary stories, ghost stories, just going to have a good time tonight. So, hello everyone, I'm the Night Watchman, and I'm the host of this stream. Very nice to meet everyone. I am obviously a plague doctor, as you might have known. I have that persona for quite a long time now, but it seemed more fitting for tonight, because plague doctors are specialists when it comes to plagues, of course.
Then find a cure for this mad government-made bioweapon, please.
Oh, believe me, I am trying. I've been testing the beakers and firing the Bunsen burners.
What about the roads?
Where we're going, there's no need
I am
for roads.
I am a doctor, not a construction worker.
He's a doctor, not an engineer.
But you can be both.
Well, I guess in this economy, everyone works 2 jobs. It's possible, but
Hey.
not my style.
You ever get hungry? Just cut your sandwich in half. That way you'll have 2 sandwiches. That's how this economy works.
Like if you need more computer, then you just slice your computer in half and you have twice the computer.
Yep.
And if you want more woman, you just slice a woman in half and you got 2 women.
Wow, way to confess. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, folks. We're starting off strong, aren't we?
I guess.
Yes, we are.
Also, should I start with the scary story since my name is in alphabetical order?
Sure, we'll go in alphabetical order, starting with E. This scary, spooky story is brought to you by the letter E. Bleh. Alright, Gavi.
So, there was a nightmare that I had. Okay, I'll start with the most scariest one. It was when I was a kid. Me and my dad went outside, and we saw a person close a window, even though there was nobody inside. And basically, yeah, we went inside, and nobody was there, and there was no signs of people being there. And my dad's ex-girlfriend's car was gone, and she went to a party and stuff. So yeah, me, my brother, and my dad were all outside, and we were the only ones in the house. So we just saw someone close the window. That's about it. Pretty scary.
Oh, yeah, that gave me chills. What about you, Gramble?
There's another scary story I would like.
Ooh, okay.
So I fell asleep and I had this nightmare, right? And I had a dream where it was Tim Pool's head twitching and stuff like that, but then I woke up and I fell asleep with the VC on and stuff like that, and Grandpa was having a rant in the morning about Tim Pool.
Really? Even though I was
No, I
never.
wasn't.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, wow. Tim Pool. Who's that?
Some guy with a beanie that wanted to vote for Bernie.
I think he
He's
has a
basically an
YouTube
independent
channel. I'm not
journalist,
quite sure,
has his
but
own independent media called Subverse. And he's basically doing whatever a journalist does, trying to find the truth while also remain biased. But he still clearly thinks that big tech, in this regard, in this dystopic nightmare of which we live in, becomes governments, and therefore we must find politicians who will reinforce the very amendments and freedoms that founded the country when even
When
that.
You came at the right time, Pumpkin.
Ooh, Pumpkin
perfect
has
time.
arrived?
Or
Yo.
Dust Kitty.
Yo.
Hey!
Same person.
What did I miss?
Nice of you to make the Halloween stream. We were just sharing our scary stories.
So I was making fun of Grambo about how much he likes to talk about Tim Pool.
Used to, but not anymore.
Remind me who Tim Pool is.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
Some weirdo
I
on
don't
YouTube.
even know
I
either.
think.
Some scrub no one cares about. What, am I wrong?
I
No.
mean, no.
No.
So, I start off with your most scariest story that is not too much because you probably Morphus.
Just want to listen.
Okay, I guess he's not a part of the stream. So, okay, you start with your most scariest story, Arcano.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a tough one. Well, probably. I do have I do have at least one story that I'd like to share, but I don't know if it's particularly scary or not. But it was weird. I was going through a citalopram withdrawal because I forgot to take my citalopram for a whole week. And one of these nights I was dreaming, and I was right outside my house. It was raining, and it was dark. And I was having what I can only describe as a conversation with an alien. But it wasn't any old alien. He was very familiar.
An
That's when I
actual
realized-
extraterrestrial.
Yeah, and that's when I realized, wait a minute, this is the guy I made up. The alien I named Arcanu. He looked exactly as I drew him.
Ooh.
But no, other than that, there was nothing real spooky. We were just having some casual about. He didn't speak any words. It was a telepathic exchange.
Communication through telepathy.
So, how did you meet this alien?
I don't know, but from the dream, I'd say he was probably he was an old acquaintance of mine, an old friend.
Huh.
It was me, because I'm the alien.
It was memes always.
Ay,
Heavy is dead, but the chances are mirrored.
Okay, Dusk Kitty, you want to start us off with a scary story?
Ooh, I'm not good at telling stories. Okay,
You
I
could
got
joke
one.
around if you want to.
I got one. Okay. Once upon a time, government existed. Horrifying, isn't it?
Very horrifying.
Can't you at least start out with, or at least just start out with this? There was a time when the human race was peaceful and prosperous.
And then the
Even during
government
the days
attacked.
That's a very
No, but-
scary
no,
story,
but-
Grambo. Thank you for telling us the same story 1,000 times. We're talking about personal experiences here, not pop.
Okay, I got one actually, a personal experience. So we were all in voice chat, and then Grambo sent pictures of his penis to Lieutenant Knives. Now that was horrifying.
Okay, Dust, that shit was unfucking true. First of all, it was a 3D. Oh my god, you have to make that shit up. Speaking of knives, I have not heard
Everyone
that,
knows
and I'm
Grambo doesn't
worried.
have a penis.
Oh, fuck off, Amorphous.
Oh, that is scary.
Wait, we have evidence that Grambo has a penis. So, Night Watchman, you want to share those pictures of Grambo's penis that he sent you?
What? No!
Dust.
Oh, you're telling him not to share them? Okay.
I don't have pictures of his dick, Dusk. What are you taking me for? I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay.
Are you trying to
Yeah,
convince
you're
us, or are you
into
trying to
gay
convince
things.
yourself?
I'm not gay, but if I see a cute femboy, ooh woo.
Hello.
Well, whether or not traps are gay is the eternal debate.
No, it's
No.
not. They don't have boobs and they have a penis. It's gay.
Yeah, and they identify as literally a male.
Well, this
Yeah, that's a serious turn off.
really quick. We're supposed to be scary, not sexual. Unless you're scared of sex.
It can be both. Like, you can go on a date and then you say, ooh, well, you're pretty girl. And then they just laugh every time you say girl, and you just think that they're laughing for the moment, right? But when you get to the bedroom, that's scary for you, Spartan.
Suddenly, penis!
And
Well, can I at least explain my
What would
nightmare?
be scary if the femboy wanted to be on top? That would be scary.
Yeah. Hold on. Let Grambo explain, his scary story.
Go for it. I'll make fun
Basically,
of you.
every nightmare or every disturbing dream I always has to relate from one single building.
Interesting.
And you know what that is?
The hospital?
A church.
I mean, okay. We
Oh my gosh.
those of us who did go to church. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, all those Christians are sure scary people.
No,
they're the
it's
most
my
scariest people.
It's like my nightmares experience in them.
Does that mean if I go trick-or-treating at Grambo's house, I can just go dressed as myself?
No, and stay away. And plus, if you ever tell them you're Catholic, get ready for Mom's holy water to throw at you.
I don't like Catholics, except for filthy.
Oh, so you're not one of them. Okay. So basically you're Protestant then.
I'm not a Protestant either. I don't consider myself denominational. I just consider
so
it
not
faggoty that there's a group of
denominational.
people who would believe anything the Pope says. Well, he says he's the Pope, therefore what he's saying must be true. Deep level thinking.
no.
Okay,
No
well thank
way.
goodness you're not of the tongue speaking variety and everything is sinful and satanic.
Oh yeah,
I think most
Grambo
people
was
just want
spouting.
attention.
Grambo was spouting unironic anti-Semitic stuff because all of the Hoppians were telling them this. Like, we do it for jokes and stuff, but he was actually unironically doing anti-Semitic, saying anti-Semitic shit unironically.
Like,
Well, Grambo is afraid of religious people. He thinks they want to dismember him for being a faggot.
and not just that, but the very nightmarish experience when it comes, based upon my upbringing. I just remember one time whenever being confronted in that buildings, or it's not just the same building, it could be a different variety, whether it be one based on the more
It's a good
Protestant
opportunity
variety
to
and on the other on the
talk
more
about
Catholic.
Cologne.
I'm sorry, what?
Is it a good opportunity to talk about collectivism because Grambo's collectivizing all Christians?
Again, this is basically my nightmare, and before you know it, I always see a cross. But this time the cross just like slips completely much, breaks into pieces.
Isn't that a good sign for you?
No, but it's like my sign of rebellion against the faith. Or a nightmarish fate. I don't know. Like I said, I've always
Grambo.
had nightmares about it. And me
Is your
trying to
nightmare
resist
actually?
time the cross.
Is your nightmare actually you're an 8-year-old Irish boy in a Catholic church?
Not really. But most of my nightmares have to be due with something happened to me that relates, as well as the always happens at an institution that is a church. And being told that I have no purpose in life unless I worship the only true religion, or basically one being. Also, free will does not exist. You're either born a believer or not. And you are born to be
Well,
a
geez,
believer
Grandma, that sounds
of this
awfully
certain faith.
Calvinist for a Pentecostal.
Yeah, that's not even Catholic. That's further on the spectrum of Christianity.
Well, that's the nightmare which I sometimes have.
Because I always thought it was Calvinists who constantly railed on us having no free will or something. I didn't know the Pentecostals did that too.
Well, this is the part evangelical variety. Like, I don't know what my mother says. Like, if you pretty much listen to the, like, she said this in Spanish, like, we are raised in the Evangelio or something. I think it's mostly closer to, like, evangelical.
Rambo, become a dudist.
A dudist?
A dudist.
Like, that's
Yeah,
just
but
your
still,
opinion, man.
Why do I always have these nightmares about this, as well as the uncertain fate of basically of my failures in life? And it's not just the church. Sometimes it's a school, a certain elementary school that I cannot get it out of my head.
Is it because you're
Okay.
insecure in your faggotry?
But that's not what my dream meant. Goodness. And what the hell is that supposed to mean?
You're supposed to be a Christian, but you like penis too much. Or at least according to your family.
Apparently, yeah, but let's
Mom,
just say
I can't
that
be a Christian. I like penis. And doesn't that mean you should just be a
Honey,
Catholic?
I told you you can be gay and be Christian.
You just have to beg for forgiveness from the Blessed Virgin every time you suck one.
Well, we're not raised Catholic, or at least my family isn't. They're heavily Protestant,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You mentioned that.
as well as end times, basically believe in, like, they really do believe in the concept of the rapture and like the end
Futurism.
is. Well, that's not really futurism, according to me. I thought futurism on the context of basically space civilizations, which I pretty much
What?
like the concept of it.
No, futurism is when they believe that none of the events of Revelation have happened yet.
Really.
Or in other words, they haven't really read the Bible at all. Because you pretty much have to ignore what it says in order to come to that conclusion. Because Jesus specifies multiple times that it's that generation that's going to witness the events he's discussing.
I think I remember Filthy talking about, like, yeah, people thought that anyone could be the Antichrist. Like, Napoleon was the Antichrist. Caesar Augustus was the Antichrist. Caligula was the Antichrist. Hitler was. And not to mention the Soviet Union, Napoleon, Donald J. Trump, and Barack Hussein Obama.
The devil is orange, guys.
The devil is the orange man. Ah!
Oh no, what can you do?
No, the devil is you, Grambo. You're the devil.
And foosball.
Rambo's the imposter. Let's kick him out.
Well, Night Watchman, you explain your actual scary story. No offense to you, Grambo.
I'd say what was
This
scary
is
so
a
far is
real-
Grambo's storytelling ability.
And this is a real scary story, by the way.
Well, I'm not that good, so forgive
When I
me.
was a young kid, like really young, around 5 or 6, I used to be able to see spirits and ghosts very vividly. And they were very vivid. Like, I could explain the clothes they were wearing, what their names were, the conversations I was having with them. It was very unnerving to my parents.
Fuck yes! Because have you seen it? The episode of Hazbin Hotel? New one is fucking.
Please forgive me.
You know what? That's also scary, Grambo. You have a scary brother. Go ahead,
I mean,
Night
just the
Watchman.
conversations I would have with these ghosts were just so specific that my parents and myself, even to this day, couldn't really conclude that it was a mere hallucination. That these were actual entities I was conversing with. If I was just making it up, it wouldn't
Spirits
be
of a known
as-
past.
Because if I was just making it up as a little kid, it wouldn't be as complex. Because, you know, when kids make stuff up, you can obviously tell they're lying. And in those rare moments when I was talking with those ghosts, my parents couldn't tell if I was lying. So there is a spirit realm out there. There is something out there. But for some weird reason,
Yeah.
I'm still
Spirits are
skeptical
trying-
about that.
I became
No, the spirits were trying to tell you, Spartan, you're gay. And that's why they were asking all those specific questions.
Well, I'm not firmly a big, huge believer in the concept of ghosts because apparently, let's just say they are
And I
still
didn't
viewed
just
as
have one
demons.
guardian angel. I had two guardian angels. What does that really tell me?
Were they the ones who told you to be a bird furry?
Dust Kitty, angels. Angels aren't furries, okay? What is that?
No, but they could help you along in that process. You gotta be yourself, so you have to be a bird furry.
Well, birds technically aren't furry since they have feathers.
Yeah, a furry is talking about any animal that is humanoid.
And
Scary,
Stop.
bro.
but if there is a thought I'd like to add. To be honest, I don't think any of that has any bearing on whether or not you go to heaven or hell.
I'm
It really
still
doesn't
doubtful of the
because-
whole concept of
Spartans,
supernatural.
ooh.
Wait, who's in here?
It's Riley.
I don't know.
Riley made it.
No,
Funny.
no, it's not them. That's an imposter, a shapeshifter. It's one of those aliens.
Skinwalker? I think it was called a Skinwalker.
Nice of you to make the stream,
Yes.
Riley. Gesundheit.
You sound like Hulk Hogan if he like smoked 20 packs.
Sorry, I'm late. I mean, I'm probably not gonna be here for all that long, but
I wish you could have been
Because
later.
And we
Shut
have
up.
the 4 watchers now. Hey, everyone. It is
what a
a
deal.
Halloween stream. Ooh, spooky.
I'm gonna say the
Alright,
N-word, Spartan. Is that okay?
No, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
say the word.
Yeah. Anyway, so what are we talking about?
We're just telling each other scary stories.
Rambo mainly.
We're just talking about shit. Oh, okay. Not actual
Halloween
shit,
shit.
just stuff.
Not the actual.
No. I meant stuff.
I knew that the first thing that came out of your mouth would be about shit.
No, I meant stuff.
No, it's too late. You already said it. You already
No.
confirmed my suspicions.
Does
Don't
Kitty,
worry,
me,
He
and
is
Delmar
actually a
had
corpophiliac.
talk
Don't worry,
earlier?
I won't talk much
He
about little
spent the
shit.
entire previous stream talking about shit. Like, it was all he had to say.
Yeah, but
I mean, we were
yeah,
talking
well,
about
I think
government and all
my
that, so,
dreams, or at least my nightmares were pretty much harder to explain.
Anyway, so what topic are we talking about?
We're just
Apparently shit, since you always bring it up.
Well, since it's the Halloween stream, Delmar, obviously we are telling each other scary stories, try and make it spooky. And
I know one. Okay, I knew one.
Down, you're saying
LJN. That's it. That's all I need to say. Just LJN.
contribute to this.
It's a company
Guys,
that makes
look
really
who's
shitty
here.
games.
Guys, look who's here.
Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
Josh.
bunnies aren't
Riley?
scary.
No. Oh no. Okay, now I got two people that dislike me here. Wow.
So,
I'm pretty sure
like,
everybody dislikes you to some degree.
Scariest
Why?
thing that ever happened to me was, unironically, I was asked a mathematical question that had no logical answer. That's the scariest thing that ever happened to me.
Ooh.
Well, I can't say I blame you.
Okay.
But hey, this can be your scary story of the year.
Well, let's hear it then.
Josho. That's it. That's all I need to say. That's scary enough.
LJN.
Oh.
Government.
Riley. Since it's Halloween and I've already finished the series.
Other
What
people haven't
series?
seen it yet.
The series of Serial Experiments Lane. The last 3 episodes was amazing, mind-blowing, and yet frightened in so many levels. I have no explanation. But yet,
good.
how very well prophetic it was. It's almost like it made my mind was so confused.
I'm glad it's supposed to do that to you.
Yeah, but hey, I'm at least not gonna be here for that long. Actually, I might as well just leave now because I got really nothing much else to say. Other than government is a really horrible story. That's
I already
scary
made
word.
that joke in fewer words.
Shit. Wow. Well, I was Richtofen, Primus Richtofen, for Halloween. I'll show you the image soon.
Sure.
Waiting for Mom to text me the image.
Of course you are.
Anyways, Riley, nice of you to drop in.
How
And
is that
another
scary?
thing,
Hold up. Bunny is speaking.
I was being sarcastic. I think the scariest thing is we're spending Halloween with Delmar.
Well, I actually never said the word shit as in
Yeah, you did.
during that entire day until now. I actually mean it this time. So, I'm probably not that annoying in real life. Maybe because I never even said much about politics at all there. So that might be why, I don't know. I honestly have no idea how.
Who the fuck played this shit?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I muted it.
What stuff?
Yeah, so did I.
I already have it muted. I didn't even need to do anything. I didn't even know Rhythm was even here.
Something wrong?
Your mom's legs.
Hey, Spartan. You still there, Spartan?
Yeah, I'm still here. This is odd.
Yeah, I'll be back pretty shortly, and then I'll be gone. Pretty
Oh,
shortly
by the
after
way,
that.
don't we set the clocks back at 2 o'clock tonight?
Yep.
Daylight savings?
We all have to reset our clocks. November 1st, daylight savings time.
Is it like an hour ahead? Like, do I get an extra hour?
Yep. Everyone gets an extra hour sleep. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at what cost? After that, it's election day. Oh no! Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Oh
if
boy.
we talk about, if we talk about election day, I'm gonna start talking about poop. So don't.
Well, it is October, so let's. Can we at least or?
Yeah, I know it's scary.
Yeah,
We
it
all-
is
we all
scary,
know
but I'm thinking
government's
about the
spooky.
scenarios of what would happen.
Maury,
What?
you should talk about anarchy with your close friends at school.
Yeah,
That's not
I
gonna end well, is it?
have. I actually have not much people to really talk about, and I already talked about them about it.
That's assuming that Maury has close friends.
I'm
Failed-
surprised he has any friends at all.
Yeah, I literally have a friend in my house right now.
I don't believe you.
If you have a friend in your house, why do you want to stream with a bunch of fucking people?
Well, I'm not really. He's not in my
Asking
room.
the real questions here.
He's like busy. I actually don't even know what he's doing.
Jerking off.
No.
Taking a
No.
shit?
Something to do with RC planes with my dad. I don't know.
Oh, so he's a pedophile.
What? No.
Oh my God! Come on.
I mean, an adult man hanging out with a young kid sounds a lot like priestism to me.
Oh, this is scary.
Wait, kid is a pedophile?
Speaking of which,
Oh my gosh! No, it's like I'm sure everything's fine. See, no, I'll even check. I'll even check.
No. I mean, I was joking. How does a kid be a pedophile?
No, he's probably a zoophile, to be honest.
No,
He's
how
not
is
a
a kid?
degenerate.
How is a
How
kid
does-
a pedophile?
Pretty easy. If you have like a
He's
14-year-old
actually
kid,
just as old as
hold
me.
on, hold
and
on.
I'm 18, so I mean.
You're asking
I
a
don't know.
question. Can I? Hey, Damari, shut the fuck up.
Fine.
You asked a question which I'm going to answer. If a 14-year-old kid is attractive and wants to fuck a 5-year-old kid, would that be pedophilia?
I don't know.
Would
I'm
that be
confused.
or would that be appropriate because they're 14? Hey, Pop.
It's kind of funny the fact that all I just said that. Oh yeah, I have a friend in my house, and we managed to get to this.
Come on.
Oh, what am I supposed to answer something?
What?
Wow.
I thought you were talking to someone else about that question.
No, he was talking to you.
All right, what was the question again?
If a 14-year-old is fucking attracted to a 5-year-old, what would you call that?
Child molestation.
No.
How is that molestation, you idiot? I said attracted, not fucking.
Yeah, it's
Grambo,
fine.
you need to stop
Care.
listening.
Yeah.
You need to stop
yeah.
talking to white nationalists.
White nationalists are gay.
But yeah, my answer is I'll just leave it alone. I don't care. Whatever they want to do. Because I mean, it's voluntary, right? I mean, they're fine with it. Both.
No, they're just fucking attracted. Holy fuck, we're not talking about fucking. God damn.
So it's on the basis of attraction, not intercourse.
Get in.
That was already explained.
Get in.
Damn, you're
Can
slow.
you get in? Sandy, come on. Don't make me beat your ass. Get inside. Get inside.
Dang, what
Now.
in the world's going on?
The stupid dog won't listen.
Oh.
Sandy,
Then
get
my
inside.
answer. Okay, so
I need to get to bed soon. Get the fuck inside. Get inside or I'm gonna shoot you.
Oh, shit.
Get inside.
What the fuck?
Get in. Get in.
oof. Like sweating.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're sweating because this conversation's too intense for you, Grandpa.
Well, it's weird.
Yeah, I'll
Can't
just.
deny that it's a
Yeah,
weird
I'll show you my
conversation.
costume
I don't want to see your costume.
after I leave. Well, too bad. It's really good. Don't worry.
It's probably a picture of his penis, and he's just calling it a costume.
No, it's not.
Come on, that's Rambo's job, dude.
What?
Put an afro on your dick.
Why do you guys love penises
My
so much?
gosh, what is wrong with you guys?
I don't know. We're not the ones talking about shit.
Oh, and
You're the one that brought up the costume.
Penis.
Come on, like any other scary stories you wish to talk about?
No.
Oh, I could probably think of a. Doesn't have to be a life experience, does it? Well, I might think of a life experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell us.
I'm really thinking hard.
Yeah. Find the best creepypasta you can find.
Well, I don't know.
Ooh, if we're reading creepypastas, I know I have some favorites.
Hey, my brother was asking, do you guys believe in the concept of the supernatural known as ghosts?
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
I don't think I have enough evidence to decide one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know, but I'm just gonna go with no.
I mean, for starters, ghosts suddenly making things cool, a cold spot, that's kind of sus.
I believe in ghosts
Yeah,
because I've
also,
seen them
you
with
have
my
fun
own
with the ghost of
2
Wendigo.
eyes. Didn't you guys listen to my earlier story?
Anyway, I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
but
now.
I also think you're a faggot.
No. Well, seriously, though,
Again,
ghosts really
Dust
can
Kitty, you
make
have
cold
no
spots.
proofs.
I now have a weapon against the laws of thermodynamics.
Wait,
Get
who
on.
left?
Get on. No, because you don't want to listen. You're going to be thrown in the other room until I'm done.
Hello?
Get in.
Oh, that is
Hello?
one bad dog.
Anyway, what do you want?
Hello?
I'm still here, Grandpa.
Hi.
Oh, okay, good. Anyways, yeah, I was having connection problems. Let's say that this year, along with this Halloween, I would say that COVID is the very thing that is up on everybody's ass and frightened the hell
Oh
out
my
of them.
gosh.
That you're right. You know what's scarier than the COVID?
Pretty much
Pretty much
everything.
Your toilet is more scarier than the fucking COVID. And that's not a fat joke. That's a majority. Toilets can actually get you more sick than the COVID can ever get you sick.
So can the cold.
Yeah. So can being too hot. Actually, the flu, when it was first discovered, killed more people within the time span that Corona was created.
Yeah, I mean, ding, 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 Spanish flu, anyone?
Yeah, but unlike the Spanish flu, we have a lot better technology.
And innovative
yeah,
when it
that's
comes to
true.
medicines and cures, but let's say the problem is that regulations and red tape
No, you're
and
right.
interventionism is pretty much
Taco Bell's more scarier than the Corona. Like Grambo eating Taco Bell, that's 1,000 times scarier.
Oh, we
than,
just gained a viewer.
You know.
Hello, welcome to the Halloween stream. Nice to meet you. Feel free to ask any question in the voice chat if you want. I am the Night Watchman.
Hey, Dust Kitty, is there anyone on active right now on his stream?
About 4 people.
I don't know. I haven't looked. My internet's so shit that I can't really have the stream up while I'm in a call.
Huh.
And I thought Riley was going to say something, but okay. But
Me too.
Nothing of value to add to this conversation. Just give me something of value to add. Put my 2 cents in. Like, Halloween is a silly holiday because people are scared of fucking booga booga and random shit that doesn't exist. And it's irrational. And there's no reason to be scared of anything that's irrational.
well, we just gained a 5th viewer. Hello, welcome to
Irrationality
the
is why
Halloween
people are
stream.
scared.
I am the Night Watchman. Feel free to ask any question in the voice chat. We're telling scary stories. And Riley
Well, at least we were.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, did you stop the stream because it got chaotic, Spartan?
No, it's still going.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Well, I'm asking if he got on it and then stopped it and then restarted it again.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, we do need Joshua in the stream. He would make it better.
I invited Joshua 3 times, but he wouldn't show.
Did he call you gay?
No, he called him a pet or a priest that is a pedophile.
So, okay, it got really quiet.
You're the host. Aren't you supposed to be talking?
Yeah, I'm supposed to have
Yeah,
something
you're
to
the-
add. I'm the host here.
Why don't
so
you read a
let's-
creepypasta? I have some recommendations. I'm sure everybody would love to hear you read.
Oh, I have a really good reading voice. Let's see what I can find on the
One
creepypasta
moment, I'll
wiki.
send you some.
Yeah,
Dude,
sure.
you're the fucking host. This isn't a fucking partnership.
Yeah, I've been actually leading everything on. You owe me, Night Watchman.
There we go. I've got a short one just to see how it turns out. There you go. I sent you a link.
I know I can be a bit too polite sometimes, but I'm the host. I should be taking charge more often.
Your mom's
Yeah,
in
it's your
charge.
stream.
There's a difference between being lazy and taking charge. I mean, being lazy and being nice.
I'm not lazy. I'm just trying to find a
I
good
think
couple of
everybody's a little bit
creepypastas
lazy.
to read.
That's
I'm sure our
true.
viewers want to hear something like that.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh,
We already know you. We already know you're lazy. Okay, Grandma.
what about a
Yeah, Grandma.
creepypasta to do with SCP? What's that Plague Doctor SCP? 137.
SCPs are gay.
SCPs are gay? Oh god.
Yes. Anyway, I sent you a.
I think it was
creepypasta.
SCP-142. What? Oh, you sent me a link? Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I said that earlier. I'm obnoxiously loud. You should be able to pick that up.
Okay,
Alright,
let's
Watchman.
start some creepypasta reading. Folks?
Yes. Read a creepypasta for the audience, if we even have
Okay,
one.
Bad Dream creepypasta. It's a short one.
Yes, it is.
Daddy, I had a bad dream. Okay, Daddy, I had a bad dream. You blink your eyes and pull up on your elbows. Your clock glows red in the darkness. It's 3:32 a.m. Do you want to climb into bed and tell me about it? No, Daddy. Your honest of the situation wakes you up more fully. You can barely make out your daughter's pale form in the darkness of your room. Why not, sweetie? Because in my dream, when I told you about the dream, the thing wearing my mommy's skin sat up. For a moment, you feel paralyzed. You cannot take your eyes off your daughter. The covers behind you begin to shift.
I'm pretty sure you just took one of Night Watchman's writings.
The fuck was that shit about?
I have no idea.
That sounded like some pedophilic shit almost. Nate Watchman.
In creepypasta.
Well, we're doing creepypasta readings for the Halloween stream, so
I got a serious creepypasta, Night Watchman.
yeah, we need something more serious than this. This was
Yes, it's more serious. Trust me.
Why would we trust you? I think that would be a bad decision.
Yeah. Trusting you is a spook after all.
Everything's a spook.
If you're a fucking solipsist, yes.
But yeah, Night Watchman. You click on it, and it is it's a real scary story. If you know.
Oh, sure.
Spartan.
yeah, I'm just clicking on.
What?
I'm just clicking on it right now. Okay, let me read it. All right.
I'll mute myself for the time being.
All right, reading it. I saw that message 100 times. It's nothing but a stupid thing to interrupt your gameplay. Personally, I thought that my dad would get me a new computer, but I guess I was wrong.
Oh yeah, the creepypasta is called Roblox.exe has stopped working. Real scary.
Oh god.
Roblox.exe is corrupted. Oh god. It's a
you're ruining
Roblox
the mood.
creepypasta. Brace yourselves, everyone. This sucks! I hate my dad for not getting me anything I wanted, like the Nintendo Switch or even a PC. Dad has $1 million, and he doesn't even buy a PC or Switch. Fucking bullcrap. I wish I had a better life, but Dad says, suck it up, Buttercup. I wish I had a mom, a dad who was nice, and a dog. My mom and dog passed away, and I was sad. The only thing Dad ever bought me was Xbox One. I'm fine with the Xbox One, but it gets boring every now and then. I thought my life was a bit boring. All I had was my friend Mason. But one day something I wish happened that would make me happy, changed me forever. I'm still not telling Dad. Oh God, so many normal sentences. I'm still not telling Dad, no matter what it takes to find out. I won't let him find out ever. What happened to that one day was all because of Roblox. Just Roblox. I decided to get on my PC because I was bored. I clicked twice on the Roblox player software just before it said, Roblox EXE has been corrupted. See you later. I was confused if I was supposed to tell Dad or fix this. Dad looked busy, so I walked to my room. The message was gone and was replaced with another one. You are helpless. I want to be free, but I guess I have no choice but to let you suffer with me. The text was corrupted. It's just a joke. It loaded a game called My Mind. What you're in fuck was I playing? I joined in this game with this audio clip playing. What it sounded like was a man screaming, "You're next! Don't come! I'll stab you!" The game then freezes and showed my shoulder hung and my future dog dead. There is text saying, "One day you will be part of the pain." The game crashed in 6 seconds. What the hell did I just play? I probably played one of the scariest games ever. I went over to my friend's house to see what he was doing after seeing that crap. He had my PC. What a not
Scary
funny
stuff.
prank. I was scared by my entire experience. I didn't laugh and slapped my friend and put a virus on his computer. I wasn't friends with the person who took dark comedy too far. Category. What was that crap? Roblox EXE. Nintendo's something about Nintendo Switch PC. Oh man.
It was basically when my daddy doesn't give me stuff, and basically, yeah, an average stupid retarded stuff like, "Yikes! All my character hung, and my dead dog was on the screen." Like fucking ugh, it's the same shit. It's
I haven't
so
read up on enough
memeable, though.
creepypastas to know about the cliches, but yeah, I can instantly tell this was bad. Really bad.
You probably thought it was good, and you're saying, "Damn, that was a really good scary story," but I shouldn't tell anyone.
Oh, ethical. If it was good, I'd be stuttering a lot more.
Don't
It
you
really
already
wasn't.
do
It really
that?
wasn't. This is what we get for listening to Gavi.
You all
Well, this
suffer.
is what we get for you listening to Gavi. I warned you.
No, it was good.
Okay, is anyone going to share any actual good creepypasta stories? Read?
What do you mean?
Are you saying no
I don't know.
creepypasta
How long do
story
you
is
want the
good?
stream to go? Because I have other ideas. We could use Cast to group watch a horror movie. Our commentary would probably be mediocre at best, but at least we'd have something to talk about.
You know what would be scary? Grambo making a YouTube video.
I'm not very well capable.
Okay,
of
and
doing
we're
YouTube
back up to
videos.
5 again. Hello, welcome to the Halloween stream. I'm the Night Watchman. Feel free to ask any questions in the voice chat.
What? Did you just start the stream over?
No, I didn't start the stream over. I'm just saying hi to everyone else, anyone who jumps into the stream. That's just my courtesy call.
Okay.
Nobody new jumped in the stream.
So some guy with that is very proud to be a statist wants to do the. They want to do the Wendigo.
Wendigo or Skinwalker.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read a couple
I mean, to be
creepypastas in
honest,
Wendigo.
if I saw someone
I'll
like
do
that in my stream, I wouldn't listen.
I don't think you do stream.
I used to. Basically,
What you used to do?
what?
Used to doesn't fucking matter. Used to means you're no longer relevant.
Okay, here's a really good one.
I just picked the wrong fucking time
Alright,
to
everyone.
do it. Like,
You told me a really good idea. Here is the story of the Wendigo Creepypasta. Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah, I bet after the last two, I ain't trusting anyone.
The Wendigo,
Or is
a
it?
creature from the mythology of Native Americans that lived in the region of the northeastern United States and southeastern Canada. It's born from pure cannibalism, and its hunger is never satisfied. There are a lot of stories surrounding the mysterious 13-mile woods of northern New Hampshire. I've heard stories of hunting parties starving out there and resorting to cannibalism. There's no telling what happens out there. This story was told to me by my grandfather, who met one of the people involved. The year was 1957. His name was Arnold Watson. He loved to hunt, and he loved even more to take long hunting trips in the woods. Of course, he never went alone. He had a couple of old friends he'd take along, Andy Johnson and Daryl Tremble. And hadn't seen him in years, so they all decided to go on a week-long hunting trip. They packed up all their stuff, hunting rifles, blankets, tents, matches, a week's worth of ammunition, and food. The three of them piled into Arnold's Jewish pickup truck. The ride through the winding dirt roads was long and bumpy. They were deep into the woods now. Then the engine started making clicks and sputtering noises, like it was breaking down. It slowed to a stop. "Start, goddammit!" said Arnold as he banged on the wheel. I have no idea what people from New England sound like. Please don't hit me. Okay, didn't you fill her up before we left? Asked Andy. I must have forgotten, Arnold said as he sighed and sat in his back seat. We might as well make camp near here, but I don't want to get too far from the truck. Okay, scrolling. So they ventured into the woods a bit and found a small clearing near the river where they could set up their tents. It was already getting dark, so they started a fire, had a little something to eat, and went to bed. They slept with their guns at their bedside, just in case. They all slept soundly through the night. Arnold was the first to awake. He sat up and stretched, letting out a long yawn. He stepped outside of the tent and rubbed his eyes. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. A bear had come and tossed everything out, and eaten almost all of their food. Arnold ran into his tent, grabbed his rifle, and aimed at the bear. His running round had already startled the bear, and it had gotten away before Arnold could get a clear shot. Andy, Daryl, get up. Damn bear's gotten at our food. Andy and Daryl scrambled up. Scrolling. What in the hell are you? Daryl stared, open-mouthed, at the remaining scraps of their food. Most of the shotgun shells had been thrown into the river, and only a few usable shells remained. Holy shit, what are we gonna do now? We ain't got nothing. No food, no ammo, no... He was cut off by Andy. Just keep calm, Daryl. I think there's more ammo in the truck. He trailed off. You guys remember the way back to the truck? Arnold asked nervously. I think it's this way. Or... No! This way! Well, it might have been this way, said Andy. Daryl smacked his hand on his face. I think the proper term is facepalm, but we'll continue. You ain't got a damn idea what you're talking about. Daryl and Andy both lunged at each other and started wrestling, cursing in between breaths. Hey, stop that! Arnold pulled Daryl off of Andy. We gotta get along. We're in a survival situation now. Ain't no fun and games. We could easily die out here and no one would ever find us. Our best bet would ever be to follow the river. Maybe we can find a town or a trading post or something. Daryl snapped. A town? Out here? My ass. We're all alone out here. We'll never find our way out. And he's always been in the weak one. Not very surprising that he'd be the first one to break. They wandered along the banks of the river for a bit, cold and hungry. Night came, but they didn't stop. Sounds started to come from the woods next to the river, like twigs snapping and leaves crunching. Andy perked right up. What the hell was that? Andy whispered nervously. Probably just rabbit, you wuss, Daryl snapped. Don't be so worrisome. A couple of minutes passed and Andy sat down to rest. It'll just be just a minute? Go on without me, he panted. You sure? Yes, I won't be long. And they assured. They continued. A blood-curdling scream filled the air several seconds later. Daryl! Ah! Help me! The scream cut off quickly to gurgling sounds of something eating. Arnold and Daryl ran back along the stream, screaming Andy's name. They heard a strong and saw the silhouette of a tall, thin, snouted figure with something dripping from its mouth. It growled at them loudly and trotted off into the woods. What in Lord's name was that? Asked Daryl. How am I supposed to know? Strike a match so we can find Andy. Daryl struck the match and looked in horror. Andy's mangled remains lay on the ground. His face was half devoured, with his skull showing. Blood and flesh covered his face. A whole section was torn out of him. chest. His ribs were picked clean. His entrails were out and laying all over him, partly eaten. His sides were ravaged. There were parts where his bone was showing in his leg. Worst of all, a horrifying expression was displayed on his face, like he was frozen in time as soon as he saw the creature. "Oh my God!" Daryl started mumbling gibberish, curled into the ball, and rocked slowly. "Why him? Why?" Arnold tried to comfort him, but he was hysterical. "We gotta keep moving, buddy. We both loved him, but it's done now, and we gotta move on." Daryl cut him off. "How could you say that? You act like you don't even care about it. I've loved him like a brother. You don't even care. You don't even care, you selfish bastard." Daryl lunged at Arnold's throat and gripped it tightly against the ground. Arnold struggled to get out of his grip. He kneed him in the stomach, and Daryl fell to the ground. Arnold started pounding him in the face. Daryl was helpless. Arnold picked him up and threw his head against a tree. Daryl slumped to the ground, leaving a thick streak of crimson blood growing down the tree. His eyes turned black, and he was crazed with bloodlust. Arnold started chewing on Daryl's arm, but then he snapped out of it. What have I done?" He looked at his blood-covered hands. He stayed there with the bodies, not sleeping, just sitting with a blank expression, thinking what he'd just done. Eventually, Arnold realized it was his duty to get back to a town and tell people what had happened. He got up and started walking. He walked for hours. Then twigs snapping came back, and the leaves crunching. He felt a warm breath on the back of his neck. He turned around. Slowly towering over him was the beast. Glowing yellow eyes, antlers and a body that seemed half-rotted. The rib cage was exposed, with rotted flesh, and around it blood and flesh dripped from his mouth. His face covered in raw muscle and deep cuts. Areas that weren't rotted, like his back and shoulders, were carpeted in short, patchy, light brown fur. One of its arms was completely rotted to the bone. Arnold screamed and ran, but it leapt and tackled him. It growled in his face and bit a chunk from his leg. Arnold screamed in agony, trying to escape from under it, and squirmed and kicked until it got free, and tried to start punching it. This only angered it more. It lunged at him again, but this time Arnold moved out of the way, and the beast trembled into the river. Arnold saw his chance. He tried his best to limp over to the river, where it was recovering from the fall. Despite the excruciating pain, he tackled the beast and pushed it all of its weight onto its head, trying to drown it. It started under the water and flailed its arms and legs, but Arnold kept his grip. It slowly became weaker and weaker until it silenced completely. Arnold sighed in relief, and it fell on his back onto the bank of the river. He rested for a while and tried to move on. He limped through the woods until morning, and he found the road. "Thank God," he thought. "It's almost over." Arnold was on the road, and only a short time before a truck came along. He pulled over, and the man scrambled out of the driver's seat and helped Arnold. "Jesus, man, what happened?" Arnold replied tiredly. "I'll explain soon. Water. A ride. Please." The man looked befuddled. Of course. Let me help you out into the car." Arnold climbed in and took a big, long swig of water from the man's bottle. He told the entire story to the man, the same one I just told you. That man was my grandfather. Arnold was taken to a hospital, but died due to an infection with the wound on his leg. Every once in a while, hunters will come back with stories of hearing loud, blood-curdling screams or similar stories of cannibalistic beasts. Whether they're true or not, there's something lurking in the 13-mile woods. If you ever decide to take a trip there and you find an old 50s truck or abandoned campsite, turn back. For God's sake, turn back. And if you don't, God help you. So,
Now, I don't know if it was the story or if it was basically, the emotionless reading.
It was probably partly the length, because that's why I picked a shorter one, is so that there would be more to talk about. Well, at least less to listen to, and then there would be more commentary about it.
Well, yeah, my favorite story by far is the daddy story.
Anyways, take care.
Wow, the story was so frightening it scared Grambo.
Oh, Bunny! Oh no, Bunny is here.
Yeah, She's been here for like.
No, I thought Buddy left during the reading.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but no.
What'd you think of the story, Night Watchman?
It was alright. I've read scarier, but someone wanted me to read the story of the Wendigo, but...
I got another one if you want to read that one. Hold on. This one's my favorite.
Okay, it better be a shorter one, because I almost ran out of breath reading that one.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll give this a read. Alright, I'll give this one a read. Alright, hang on. I lay in my bed, restless and alone, on the dark and silent night. I toss and turn in my bed, trying to find a comfortable spot, but I feel uneasy. Something about tonight just didn't feel right. I toss and turn until I finally find a comfortable position. I close my eyes, but it doesn't make a difference. It's too dark in my room to see anything anyways. I guess it takes time for my eyes to adjust to darkness. I lay there, still and silent, on the dark and dank night. My body is relaxed, my mind is blank, and I'm ready for some much-needed rest. Instantly, the silence shattered in my mind fills with fearful thoughts as my startled eyes flash open. Knock, knock. It's almost undoubtedly the sound of a fist on a glass, but no, it couldn't be. What would someone's motivation be to wake someone alone in their home? Think logically. If someone wanted to break in, why would they warn me with a knock? They would just break in, making a loud and obvious noise, or try to be as silent as possible. Why would they knock? Monsters don't exist. I give myself some peace of mind and simply look out the window when I'm facing the other way and I'm too timid to turn my head, afraid of finding my greatest fears standing outside my window. What could it be, though? Maybe a couple of birds flew into my window. No, that's too unrealistic. Could a group of kids be running around late at night, knocking on windows to get a few laughs? It's a possibility, come to think of it. Maybe it was my imagination. Maybe I heard the unusual creak in the house and my paranoid mind has mistaken it for a knock. Knock, knock. Nope, that definitely was my imagination. Those damn kids are persistent. They don't want to quit until they get that reaction. Maybe some sick, twisted freak is standing outside waiting for me to look so he can smash through and attack me. No, don't think that. Don't get paranoid. Besides, he's outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Monsters don't exist. Besides, I haven't moved yet. Hopefully those kids will think I'm a heavy sleeper and leave me alone. Knock, knock. No, it can't be. Kids. No kid would wait around this long just to get a reaction from one lonely guy. They just get bored and move along. What could it be? Why would a serial killer talk at me? Of all people, think logically, monsters don't exist. Don't get paranoid. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. But if it's not a monster or some sort of killer, what could it be? Just pretend to be asleep and maybe it'll go away. Knock, knock. Oh God, I can't think of a noise I hate more than that persistent knock. Please go away. Please leave me alone and let me be. There's no hope. It's going to get me in here and do sick and horrible things to me. Inhale, take deep breaths. I can feel my heart pound out of my chest. Just relax. Monsters don't exist. Remember, they're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Repeat that. Don't let your fear get the best of you. Just pretend to be asleep. Don't move a muscle. Knock, knock. You're outside, I'm inside. Until I hear shatter, I know I'm safe. Monsters don't exist. Just pretend to be asleep and pray it'll go away. Knock, knock. You're outside, I'm inside. Until I hear shatter, I know I'm safe. Frightful tears begin to drip down my face. Monsters don't exist. Monsters don't exist. I begin to whisper to myself. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear shatter, I know I'm safe. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear shatter, I know I'm safe. Knock, knock. I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna go mad listening till it knocks. At least I see what it is. I'll have peace of mind. Take a deep breath. I repeat to myself one more time. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear shatter, I know I'm safe. I take 4 more breaths. My heart pounding as hard as it ever was, ever to pound at a mile a minute. I slowly turn my head to face the window. My heart sinks into my chest, and I'm too afraid to scream or move. I turn my head to find a pale figure with beady black eyes staring through me and into my soul as a hard grin creeps across his face. It was standing inside the whole time, knocking on my window. Ooh.
You know what I think?
No?
It was someone with a big dick trying to get you. They were knocking on the glass window with their dick because it was that big.
I love that story for how screwed up it is. Basically, the monster standing inside the whole time, knocking on the inside of the window. And I just find that revealed to be hilarious. It's especially the way I heard it read. Basically, the person who was reading it was interrupting themselves with the knocks. They would be like mumbling, or they'd say the "as long as I don't hear a shatter, I know I'm safe" part, and then they'd interrupt it with a knock, and then go and they'd give it makes the next response exasperated. It was great.
That was quite the read. It had a really good build up. And the ending, yeah, like you said,
I actually heard
was
this
a pretty
creepypasta before.
funny twist. It was just the monster was inside the whole time, just knocking on the window.
Just to mess with him.
It was me. I sneak into people's toilets.
I'd believe that.
Yes.
You sneak into people's toilets, or you sneak
the truth.
sneak through people's toilets. I don't think it makes a difference.
Anybody else want to pick one for him? If not, I've got another one.
There's this
I don't remember it
unironic
by
story
title.
about how furries are not really people. Their costume is a part of their skin or some shit.
Ugh. That's
God.
for patchwork.
What?
There's a furry who has a patchwork costume that they made from thrown away rugs. Basically, they cut up the rugs to make their furry costume.
Gross.
Oh, it looks gross.
Like, why don't you just get like at least a head? I mean, you can save up to like make a furry head. You don't have to have the full fucking costume. And they're hot as shit to wear.
Hot as in uncomfortable.
You know what I mean. You want a fucking anime girl, that's just as bad as wanting to fuck a furry.
No?
Yes. No. Asian women aren't people. They're animals.
What are you, a Hoppian?
I'm anarcho-Nazbol gang.
What are you talking about, Gabby? I'd love to have a nice Asian waifu. They know how to cook.
He just wants
You're
them
a
in the kitchen.
zoophile. Guys, be aware of this like zoophile in your town. I think he lives in Kentucky or something. Where do you live, Spartan? What state?
I bet we can guess.
The land of Narnia. Narnia business. But I'm originally from Minnesota. You can tell from my accent.
No, I can't.
You don't have an accent. Most people that go to Minnesota that you see in Minnesota are from Canada.
No, the Minnesota accent's a thing. Don't you know?
Yeah, because of Canada, but if you're from America, usually you have an American accent.
American accent.
Yes.
No, my dad was born and raised in Minnesota, and he has a noticeable accent. So that's not true. Not all Minnesotans are from Canada, Gabby.
All Minnesotans are not people.
Oh, whoa. Are we getting... Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they have lower... Therefore, they're not human. Need to be enslaved.
Anyway, I'm gonna be heading off to bed.
All right, good
You're
night,
probably
Riley.
not going to be missing anything. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, Riley.
Hi, Miss Riley.
Right.
Already, she was the best part of the stream. So I agree.
Didn't really say anything.
Still the best.
You cut out.
I said still the best part of the stream. I'm using push to talk, so I apologize.
You apologize that you have bad timing.
I usually press it at the same time, but it usually has a delay, so...
Spartan, don't you miss Riley already?
I mean, we are good friends.
Yeah, as I'm aware, you wanna, you know what I'm gonna say.
About it, me having a waifu or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Riley is
if I
his
had a
waifu
choice
for
of
life.
a wife, I'd want them to be either
Well,
Asian
if you
or...
want to be in a relationship with Riley, don't you want to be in? Aren't you going to be in a relationship with P then? Because it's going to be poly.
P's not a woman.
Might as well be.
Also has IQ below room temperature.
My mom is beautiful. I want to steal her panties.
What are we talking about again? You're echoing really bad.
The boy who steals their mom's panties and tops.
No.
To be fair, Spartan, you did ask for this whenever you invited Gavi.
Yes, I know. I had it coming.
Yes, this is your fault.
Yeah.
And again, I keep explaining to people, I am not a furry. I'm obviously a bird.
Yes, you are.
Plague doctor.
You can be both. It's okay.
Wait a second. What's so bad about me? All I do is just annoy people. That's so bad.
What's bad about it. Yes.
That's good.
No, it's not.
It is.
I don't find you annoying, Gavi. So
I do.
if that was intentional, then you failed.
He just doesn't want to give you the satisfaction of being annoying.
Because if you can tell, from my monotonous voice. You haven't gotten any riling out of
You
me.
always sound like that even when you're rattled.
Spartan, I know you think I'm annoying, but thank you, Uwu. I'm annoying.
Ooh, ooh. Don't you
Yes,
ooh me?
Uwu.
Don't you ooh nuzzies me, Gabby? I know you get really ornery when you're tired.
I knew Spartan would be familiar with that since he's a furry too.
Yeah, he wants to Uwu every trans person he sees.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
I think this is a well-known fact. You've failed to hide it for quite some time.
I mean, if I was strict, then it couldn't possibly be gay because I wasn't going into it knowing they had a dick.
Yeah. Except when you notice in the bedroom and then stick your dick in anyway. It's not gay though, because I didn't notice beforehand. I know now, but it still doesn't mean I'm gay. Yeah, silence proves it all.
I keep
Apparently
telling you,
silence is consent.
I am straight, but you know, I just
Yes,
like
you're straight
to
as a circle.
mess around.
No, he's a fucking 3D ball. That's what the 3D circle is. Duh. Fucking moron, Gabby.
All of these squares make a circle.
Hey, Spartan, aren't you a Hopian, technically?
Well, since status and Hopians aren't really any different, I would say probably.
Since I'm called the Night Watchman, then aptly I would advocate for a Night Watchman state.
See? Hopian.
Yeah, exactly.
You advocate for a state, therefore you are a Hopian.
I want the state to be voluntary.
I mean,
I
it
wish I
also
isn't
want
such a
squares
bad
to be
idea
round.
as long as it's voluntary. It doesn't violate the non-aggression principle, thus it's consistent. But
Well, the point of a state is not to be consistent with the non-aggression principle. That's a contradiction. If it's a government, if there's violence, well, states can't become consensual.
Fuck, I'm high as shit.
I can tell.
oh, right.
I don't think
I
there's a
didn't
difference
know-
between when you're high and where
I
when
forgot
you're
to
not.
set the
though.
ground rules on drug use on this stream.
I am high every day.
Smoke weed every day. Yeah.
Like I said, I forgot to set the ground rules for drug use on this live stream.
None.
There, Spartan, you are basically a Hopian.
And Filthy hops in.
We already went over that.
Hey,
Yeah, I just said it because Filthy's here.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Oh, hi.
shit! It's Lord Filth. Hey.
Oh, hi.
All, damn it! All hail the green nigger.
Hey.
welcome to my
I'm
humble
getting some
Halloween
pretty bad
stream,
connection
by
right
the
now.
way.
Can't be worse than mine. I can't even watch the stream while I'm on the stream. It would cause me to disconnect.
But yeah, we're discussing why Night Watchman's objectively wrong.
We were originally reading creepypastas, but, you know,
Why is he? What's he objectively wrong about now? I mean, we've already
He
pointed out
wants
that
a
he has-
voluntary state. He wants he wants a voluntary state.
Well, those two are a complete contradiction. You're engaging in cognitive dissonance if you believe that you can have a coercive monopoly on arbitration and have it be voluntary simultaneously.
I mean, you could have a voluntary covenant community the size of a nation state.
No, you. Well, well, what do you mean by a covenant community?
What I mean by covenant
State.
community is people voluntarily enter into a community with certain rules and stipulations in exchange for certain services.
That's not a state, though.
Well, the idea of a state is pretty vague a definition. I mean, there have been many
No, it's
different
not. It's
forms
very
of states.
concrete. A state is a monopoly on arbitration. That's pretty straightforward.
Well, like I said, if you can enter into a state voluntarily and be able to leave a state voluntarily, then it doesn't technically violate the non-aggression principle.
Oh, yes, it does.
Why is that?
Because all states engage in theft at the bare minimum. Not to mention that since you have artificial monopolies imposed upon society, you're necessarily going to get people engaged in warfare. So you already have the theft and killing aspect in terms of criminality that the state is already engaged on by merely existing.
Oh, well, like I said, there are certain services that should be public because privatizing courts, for example, could prove disastrous because private courts can be, bought and sold. With private courts, you have justice being bought and sold to the highest bidder.
So so you're more afraid of a bad thing that might happen more so than the bad thing that's already happening.
Well, the bad thing that might happen is a lot worse than the bad things that currently happen.
Well, what you're describing is already what is already the status quo, where courts are bought and paid for. However, the difference between what you want and what could happen, theoretically, if we assume that what you're afraid of is 100% certain, is that at least if you have a private sector in courts, and there are courts that are bought and paid for, you can at least opt not or opt out of corrupt courts and just have your cases adjudicated in straightforward or in straight and narrow courts. Whereas if you try to opt out of a court in a state, all of the courts are going to be the same because there is a monopoly on arbitration. I mean, it's hard to believe that justice is the only example of a product, good, or service that becomes better and cheaper in a monopoly.
Well, I'm just saying that public goods and services are free from bias, while private services are technically biased towards one entity or another, whether it be
So you're saying
advertisers or sponsors or whatnot.
So government courts are not biased at all?
They're supposed to be entirely unbiased.
No. Are they biased or not?
For the most part, no.
Well, I can tell you that's completely false because you can already figure out just from reason and logic that there's a very strong bias in favor of the government. If you have a dispute with the government, then the odds are already stacked against you because the prosecutor is a government agent, your public defender is also a government agent, and the judge is a government agent. The idea that they're not going to act in the interests of the government is absolutely ludicrous. And with this in mind, the idea that you're going to get anything resembling justice from a court that is already bought and paid for and controlled by the government, especially when the government is going to possibly be one of the parties involved in the dispute, the idea that you would get justice from that, or that there isn't a massive conflict of interest there, is absolutely ludicrous. So yes, the government courts are bought and paid for by the government, and they have a monopoly.
Well, what makes you think there'd be any, like an argument I made before about when it came to courts, what makes you think there'd be any true justice when there's a whole bunch of competing courts?
Doesn't matter. All I know is that the status quo is injustice, and so the way I see it, a private system of courts can't possibly be any worse. There's no guarantee that there won't be injustice in a private society. All I can say for certain is that if you have a state monopolizing justice, there will be injustice 100% of the time with absolute certainty.
Okay. You picked the worst time to debate me, by the way. But anyways, it's like I'm saying, oh, Gabby left. Oh, there she is again. Hey, Gabby. But like I said before,
Is there really a bad time to discuss this sort of thing? Like, worst case scenario, you
really
know,
tired
to
right
talk
now.
about on stream that can entertain people. I say you and Lord Filth should keep going.
All right. I'll keep
This
going
is
for
actually
about a
really
half hour.
interesting. A lot, like, keep on going.
I'll keep going, I guess. But anyways, filthy is like what I'm saying is that well, of course, the current course don't make the ideal, but I want to make those systems meet their ideal, or as close to the ideal as possible. Just because our current system is broken now doesn't mean it's always the inevitable symptom of government. I'm saying that government can be used as a force for good if used in the right way. Less of a sledgehammer and more of a scalpel.
Then you'll have to demonstrate that this is even possible, because I have demonstrated very clearly that the government is always going to, at least in the topic of justice, is always going to have a conflict of interest, simply because the government has a monopoly on arbitration. The only way you can get around this is for the government to lose its monopoly on arbitration, in which case it's no longer a state.
Well, certain types of states don't have monopolies on arbitration. Consider, like, for example, there are confederacies that have multiple competing arbiters of force.
Name one.
Well, there's the German Confederation, for one thing. The Swiss Confederacy.
So those don't have their own federal courts?
They have a lot of separate court systems, but I don't want to get into the details of that. But
well, of course you don't, because you'd recognize very quickly that all of those systems are subordinate to the federal system, and those subordinate systems only exist because the federal government gives them permission to exist. It's the same thing with the United States, where you have district courts, appellate courts, circuit courts, all of which are subordinate to the Supreme Court of the United States.
No, I'm pretty certain that each U.S. state does possess a certain amount of autonomy. That makes
You're right, they do, insofar as their own laws are considered, but they're all subordinate to the federal government and are subject to be overturned at any point, either by an act of Congress, imperial decree by the President of the United States, or judicial ruling.
Well, like I said, I'm not talking about the system as it currently exists. I'm talking about a system that has these problems, that at least addresses these problems you present.
No system exists that will ever address those problems, except anarchism, which isn't even a system. The only way to fix this is to break the only is to break the monopoly on arbitration and to end statism once and for all.
Ugh.
It's not enough to just simply state what it is that you want. You have to back up your statements with reason and evidence as to why it is that I should support a monopoly on arbitration, and why it is that I should agree with you that a monopoly on arbitration is even capable of producing something that can be loosely characterized as justice.
Well, at least you don't have to pay for a lawyer in my system.
Oh, yes, you do. I mean, are you going to ban lawyers?
I'm not going to ban lawyers. I'm just going to make sure everyone gets the equal amount of justice they deserve.
So it's just going to be a system of public defenders?
Well, that's the Night Watchman state. In that certain instances that you need government involvement, such as the courts and the police or the military. But other than that,
No. Hold on a second. What do you mean everyone will have equal access to lawyers? Does that mean that no wealthy people are going to be able to afford private professional lawyers? Is it
yeah,
like
that's
banned
exactly
or
the
something?
case. So they don't weasel their way out of legal accountability by abusing legal loopholes.
Okay, so everyone will only be able to use public defenders?
Basically, everyone gets the same representation.
And
That
so,
seems fair.
except that the odds are still going to be stacked against people when their dispute is with the government directly. Because not only is the judge and the prosecutor all government agents, but the defense attorney is also a government agent.
That's why judiciary has to be 100% independent of the other government branches.
Then the state will not have any ability to do anything whatsoever. It won't be a stand anymore, unless the state is outsourcing its monopoly on arbitration to a third party. In which case, you still have the same problem. It's just that now you become an efficiency expert for the state's judicial system.
Well, the state would exist per the consent of the governed. That's how a proper liberal night watchman state would operate as.
Well, I mean, you've already fallen part of the basic premise because you cannot get consent of the governed. It's impossible.
Well, you can't get 100% consent, but 80% consent is at least enough of a
You can't even get
supermajority
1%.
to justify its existence. Because
You can't even get one person to consent.
do you have any proof to back up your claims? I mean, if
Yes,
people
I
didn't
do.
consent for the United States to exist, it wouldn't exist. The only reason it exists is because we allow it to exist by recognizing its legitimacy. For example.
Well, that's not true at all. I mean, if that were true, then we could just simply will things out of existence, or otherwise political economies would just fall apart or succeed just because we wanted to. We could have stopped the 2008 financial crisis by just simply willing it to go away. But unfortunately, the reality doesn't work that way, and there are plenty of examples of things the government does to sustain itself that doesn't require anyone to affirm any sort of thing resembling consent to a government whatsoever. But the idea of getting informed consent in regards to statism is absolutely ludicrous, and we know this because a lot of people who have attempted to justify this claim that people do consent to be ruled over have appealed to something called the social contract, which I'm assuming you're at least vaguely familiar with. Because if you're going to appeal to the social contract, we're just going to warn you right now, you're not going to win.
Well, I'm just saying that certain rights have to be that certain quote unquote rights have to be sacrificed to protect rights of the most vulnerable.
Where do rights even come from in your mind?
Well, rights don't come from a vacuum.
I didn't say they came from a vacuum. I'm asking you, where do rights come from, not where they don't come from.
They come from culture and tradition.
So how did culture and tradition create rights?
Like I said, you say rights exist in nature. I say rights are enculturated, and if they are an aspect of culture, then they have to be, and rights have to be nurtured and taught.
So where does culture come from?
Culture comes from what is taught to people, the values systems, what they believe.
But where do those value systems come from?
Those value systems, well, I'm not a sociology expert in the slightest, but those value systems tend to arise through the interactions of people.
So culture comes from values, which comes from culture.
And values are created in response to what people would think, in their opinion, would be the best way to run society. It's all opinion.
So hold on a second. So culture comes from being taught values, and the values come from the culture.
It's a self-feeding loop.
That's not a self-feeding loop. That's circular reasoning.
How am I going to circle here?
I just explained it. Culture comes from values, which comes from culture, which comes from values, which comes from culture, which comes from values. You have ultimately no ability to explain where culture or values comes from.
Values and culture come from people, Filthy.
How do people create culture then?
They create culture through ideas. Through how.
And where do those ideas come from?
Ideas come from the mind.
And where does the mind come from?
Us.
All right. So how do you know that us exists?
Oh, are you going? Oh, well, Filthy. Are you going down the solipsistic route? Then.
Hell no. I'm just trying to see if you understand where rights come from, which honestly I don't think you do.
Rights are just something that comes from us realizing that we have the capacity to not engage in harmful activities towards each other.
And where did that capacity to not do things come from?
It came from our capacity to reason.
All right. And why do we have a capacity to reason?
Because we are human beings.
And you're saying that some hypothetical general intelligence has no ability to reason? Or alien from who lives thousands of light years away?
Well, right when you brought aliens into this, Yabby drops back in. But like I said, well, yes, any species with equivalent intelligence to a human being has the ability to reason in such a way that they would recognize you have certain rights to not be harmed in any way, and a certain rights to express yourself freely without reprisal.
But where do those rights come from?
Where do the rights come from?
I mean, Riley, I'm pretty sure Riley has asked this question and answered it for you several times, so you can just repeat to me what he said.
Well, I don't agree with Riley on everything, but like I said, rights
You don't have
rights
to.
come from
But Riley is correct on where rights come from.
rights come from our cultural assumptions on how a human being should live.
No. We've already said that the idea that rights come from culture only requires circular reasoning, so it's invalid. You need to explain your conclusions, and so you need to tell me where rights come from.
Okay. Well, I really can't explain to you where rights come from. They're just something that arose in the Enlightenment some few hundred years ago.
So we didn't have rights prior to the Enlightenment?
We had privileges prior to the Enlightenment. No one had.
Alright, so I'm assuming that the right to free speech and the right to property constitute rights, correct? Just as an example?
Yes, those used to be privileges back in the day.
Alright, so nobody had the ability to speak ever prior to the Enlightenment without it being decreed that it was okay for certain people to speak. But that begs the question, who gave those decrees and how did they get their right to speak in the first place?
Usually kings or nobles gave people certain rights before modern democracies allowed everyone to have rights.
But where did they get their rights? Where did the kings get their rights?
Well, historically, kings claimed legitimacy through divine right, that they were God ordained. But let's not get into that rabbit hole.
I think we can both realize that it would be hugely inconsistent to say that God gave rights but only to kings and nobles.
Yes,
But,
I agree. It would be more consistent that God would give rights to everyone. I just didn't want to
correct.
I just didn't want to say go down the God did route because I'm trying to be consistent here.
Good. And you would be correct. So that still brings us to the original question, where did the king get their right?
The king got his right to rule through tradition. That because people traditionally recognize the king as
for the king to be able to bestow rights upon other people, he needs to have the right to express himself as well, since he needs to be able to communicate his bestowing of rights onto someone else. But in order to do so, he would himself have to have gotten those rights. And how would he have that communicated to it from tradition? Because it feels like we're feeding into another we're feeding into some more circular reasoning here.
Well, if you want to, well, like I said, Filthy, the concept of rights didn't always exist.
You're right, it didn't always exist. But that doesn't mean that rights didn't exist. It just means that our ability to conceptualize or articulate them didn't exist. It's like saying that we didn't have gravity prior to Isaac Newton.
All right, if you're comparing rights to gravity, that's kind of fallacious in itself because, because scientific laws are immutable. Rights are mutable.
Both are false.
How is that false? Scientific fact is scientific fact. You cannot turn off gravity just because
You're
will
right.
it.
You can't turn off gravity. However, our understanding of gravity can change constantly. Same thing with our understanding of rights. However, rights are not immutable. Or I mean, rights are immutable.
Rights are if rights are mutable, there's something that has to be protected.
I'm sorry?
And if rights are mutable, then rights have to be protected.
Rights are not mutable. They're immutable.
And that is the
Besides,
fundamental.
you're not even sure where rights come from, because every time I attempt to pin you down on that, you fall into circular reasoning.
How am I following that circular reasoning? I'm just explaining to you that.
Well, first you seem to think that rights come from culture, and culture gets its right. Culture gets its right from values, which gets its information, which is informed by culture, which is informed by values, which is informed by culture. And
That isn't
when you
circular
go back
reasoning. That's a
to
pretty
rights, when you go back
self-explanatory,
to
self-feeding
conceptually
loop.
pinning down rights prior to the Renaissance, you try to say that the king has to bestow rights, where he needs to get his rights from somewhere, which gets it from tradition, which is of course going to go back into culture, values. I mean, it would be more consistent, at least from your point of view, just to say that rights don't exist at all. But I can tell you that's not true.
Well, to justify, like I said, Filthy, our conception of rights has always changed, but to be honest, rights were never a thing that ever existed in nature. Rights were always something that had to be bestowed, whether it be by a king, or by an assembly, or by a government.
Well, that's strange, because I've been speaking my entire life without needing an imperial decree to tell me to do it. So obviously that's not
That is
true
a
at all.
testament to hundreds of years of social progress, by the way, Filthy. I'm sure.
No. That would have been the same regardless. People have been speaking for thousands of years and have been trading, communicating, and having property rights for hundreds of thousands of years, even before Homo sapiens as a species evolved. So no, it's not something that's just it's not something that just happened as a result of it being imposed, about property rights or free speech needing to be imposed upon us from the top down. There's another reason for it, which I don't think you're capable of conceptualizing.
I think the primary disagreement we're having, Filthy, is that you think rights are something that just exists in nature, and I'm saying that rights are basically basically constructs that have to be upheld and imposed.
And that's why you are logically inconsistent. Well, I mean, there's plenty of reasons, but that's one of the main ones. That you think that justice is something that needs to be imposed upon people, that property rights is not something that is
Hang on one
defensible
second.
on its own, but it just simply needs to be imposed upon arbitrarily.
Okay, I'm back.
1 second, let me see. Oh, welcome back.
Hey, Filthy. I've been listening, and Spartan's the kind of person who needs time to think when his beliefs are challenged. That's probably what he's doing.
Well, I like Watchman to demonstrate to me that he's not a relativist.
Oh, hey, Night Watchman, you're back.
Hey, I just had to get some water. Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
All right. But yeah, I mean, you are fundamentally a relativist.
I'm not a relativist. I'm just saying that
Night
Okay.
Watchman.
I'm saying that while ethics are objective, rights aren't.
Well, I mean, you can't even say that ethics are objective. All you really can say is that rights, and since rights are derived from ethics, that ethics are something that needs to be imposed upon society. You're a relativist.
I'm not a relativist myself, but a lot of other people have relativistic thinking, and the only way they understand rights is if they had it imposed upon
We're
them.
not talking about other people. We're talking about you. I don't care about other people.
Right.
So if you're not a relativist, then why can't I kill you?
Because I'd like to see you try.
Okay. I'll come down to your house, I'll point a gun at your head, and then I'll put handcuffs behind your back, and then I'll go ahead and rape you, and then I'll shoot you in the back of the head. Why can't I do that?
Because I would stop you.
No, you couldn't.
Okay. You wouldn't be able to kill me because I live in a system where I have the rights to life, liberty, pursuit, and happiness.
So you're hoping other people will stop me?
Basically.
Well, the best I'll be able to do is draw your outline in chalk. So that won't exactly be very useful to you. So let me ask you again, why can't I kill you? I'm not concerned about what the cockroaches are going to do. My concern is raping you and ending your life. So why can't I do that? And I know you can't stop me.
I can stop you easily.
No, you can't. What makes you think you can stop me?
I can shoot you.
No, you can't.
Because I would defend myself, and you would lose, obviously. If we're talking about who would win a fight.
How do you think how will you be able to defend yourself against me?
I take my gun and I shoot you if you try to do something like that.
What makes you think you can even shoot me? Let me clarify. I'm contending that even if you could lift the handgun and point it directly at my head, that you would be unable to pull the trigger. As in physically unable to. I would not be restraining you in any way, but I say you cannot pull the trigger.
You're saying I wouldn't be able to pull the trigger?
I say you wouldn't be able to pull the trigger, correct.
Oh, filthy, you don't know me at all.
Oh no, I know enough. And it's not like I'm saying like you won't do it because you don't have the nerve, nothing like that. I'm saying that if you attempted to exert control over your finger and pull the trigger, your finger would resist you.
What?
Yeah, you want to know how I know that?
Why?
Because you don't own yourself. You can't, thus far in this entire conversation, you have failed to articulate anything that makes me think that you have any belief in your ability to control yourself. And because you lack dominion over yourself, I know that that your body is effectively unowned property. Yourself is effectively unowned property. And so by entering your home, I homestead you. And as such, I have complete dominion over your thoughts, your mind, and your body. And so you may attempt to pull the gun on me, aim it at me, and pull the trigger, but because I control your body, I can just simply have you not.
Well, we both know that's not true because I can exert control over my body.
You can exert your control over your body, so what? What makes you think your claim to your body is superior to my claim to your body?
Well, it's just because I have the right to resist.
Well, no, you don't have the right to resist. So what makes you think that your claim to your body is superior to my claim to your body?
You don't have a right to my body because
That doesn't answer the question.
well, like I'm saying, filthy, is just I have certain rights. You cannot hold dominion over my body because I have at least ownership over my own body.
What makes you think you have ownership over your body?
Because I can exercise full authority over my body. Thus, I have dominion over it.
So your claim to dominion over your body is superior to mine?
Yes, because
Why?
because I was the original possessor of dominion over my body. Thus, I have the exclusive rights to it.
Okay. So because you have dominion over your body, so what?
That gets if I have dominion over my body, that means I can't
Does that-
have anyone else possess ownership over my body.
And so because you have dominion over your body, that means I can't control your body and stop you from pulling the trigger to defend yourself against me?
Well, we both know that's physically impossible. So it's a
Regardless.
terrible argument.
Regardless, is this an accurate characterization or no? That because you have dominion over your body, that I can't stop you from pulling the trigger?
You can't stop me from pulling the trigger because you don't have control over my body.
And so therefore, if I were to attempt to break into your house, to tie you up, rape you, and kill you, you would stop me in the process by defending yourself?
Yes, I would. Obviously, that's common sense.
So, in other words, the basis for me not being able to rape and kill you is because you own yourself?
Well, at the very least, that's true. We both agree.
Congratulations, you just articulated a coherent argument. You just figured out where rights come from.
Okay,
Well,
you
where
seem
did
kind
your
of
idea
lost.
come? Well, where did your idea that I have ownership over my own body come from?
I didn't say you had ownership of your body. You did.
Yeah, Night Watchman, you just argued for the basis of anarchism. Self-ownership?
The whole point of this exercise was to get you to articulate and understand how self-ownership worked.
Okay, so you did convince me that we do have ownership over our own bodies at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what makes you think we objectively have any other rights?
Well, we've already explained that you have a right to not be killed, a right to not be raped. So what other entailments can we derive from self-ownership?
Well, one person's conception of rights can vary from person to person. I mean, we fundamentally have a disagreement over whether or not a person should have a right to health care or not, for example. That should be proof enough that rights aren't universal.
Just because people have disagreeing ideas of right and wrong doesn't mean that there is no factual basis. I mean, it's not like the Copernican model of the solar system was wrong just because people disagreed with it at the time. And there are flat earthers who do still believe that Earth is the center of the solar system, but they can't both be correct. And we also know that they're not equally valid. Whereas you've already started down the road of understanding the basis of rights. So, next question is, why are you able to speak?
I am able to speak because I am able to move my mouth and vocal cords in such a way to make vowels.
Mm-hmm. And that's the basis of free speech. Because anytime someone makes a claim that you can't say certain things and actively tries to prevent you from doing so, they are making a claim to dominion over your body, specifically your mouth, your tongue, your vocal cords, whatever you use to articulate the expression you wish to make. It could be fingers on a keyboard or hands with a pencil, or just drawing with your fingers in the sand. The number of or the possible forms of expression are theoretically infinite. But you can see how free speech works on that basis as well. And since everybody owns themselves universally, this is always going to be true.
Yeah, but what makes our right to self ownership more important than government's rights over their sovereign territory?
Does the government have a demonstrable right to sovereign territory?
Yes, as they claim to have a right. Just as you claim to have a right to free speech, just as you claim to have a right to your own body.
So how does the government justify its claim to territory?
It justifies its claim to territory through written contracts and agreements.
Like what?
Well, take the Louisiana Purchase, for example. That was basically an entire land claim based on a contractual agreement between two consenting parties.
Sure. But how did France get Louisiana?
Well, the Native Americans at the time had no concept of private property, so they just claimed the land to themselves.
The Native Americans did have a claim to the land, though. They homesteaded it.
Well, the Native Americans technically had no concept of private property before we came over.
No, but they still had property rights because they owned themselves and they made use of the land prior to the French coming in and claiming it as their own. Their claim was superior because they not only had ancestral ties to the land, but they also mixed their labor in with the land. And labor is just an extension of one's self-ownership. And so Louisiana necessarily made a claim to the labor of...
Well, don't you think any nation can
Hold
claim
on a second.
legitimacy by...
Hold on a second. So France necessarily made a claim to the labor of the Native Americans who mixed their labor with the land and successfully homesteaded the land. In a sense, they made a claim to the self-ownership of the Indians, which, as you recognized earlier, cannot logically be demonstrated, and as such, France's original claim is invalid.
You good there, Spartan?
Dead air.
Oh... Why is this so frustrating?
Well, we understand that it's difficult to change your perception of things. Or really, you're not super changing your perception of things because you already recognize self-ownership.
Give me a second, I'll be right back.
All right.
Can I tell you where rights come from?
Where
Hello?
the right? Okay, where?
Are
They
we sure
come
you're
from
qualified
logic.
since you're an egoist?
I was fucking LARPing as one.
What's going on?
Oh, we're
I'm
just
just-
not sure that Gavi's qualified to talk about self-ownership since she's an egoist.
I'm not an egoist. How would
Was
I
this
be? How would I be a cynicalist and a egoist?
Are you saying that you were only pretending to be retarded? Anyway, go on,
Yeah,
Filthy.
you think those were some retarded ass arguments, let me tell you. You
Well-
make up your own perception of reality?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Riley sometimes does the same thing. They actually, act like the ideology they want to understand.
Let's not hijack
Wait,
the
are you talking
conversation
about-
from Lord Filth and Night Watchman. You guys should continue.
You're the one who
So-
started off.
Wait, who's
So,
out of touch with
anyway-
reality
Go ahead,
here?
Phil.
So I've explained that France's claim to Native American land is invalid. Hello? I know you were there just a minute ago.
Night Watchman, he's talking to you.
I know. It's just, well, thankfully, thankfully, our imperialistic past is behind us for the most part. But I was just using that as an example. Let's not get into the details on how France got the land. I was just using Louisiana Purchase as an example of contractual agreements of sovereignty being based upon contractual agreements for the most part.
And I was pointing out early, I was just using that example that you cited to point out the point that I make, and that is that states have no claim or have no valid claim to any property whatsoever. Everything that they took or everything that they have was acquired through war and conquest, or was acquired through either theft or conquest. Keep in mind that the United States did pay for the original, or the United States government did pay for the Louisiana Purchase with stolen money. So even if we did want to assume that France did acquire all of that property legitimately somehow, that the United States still would not have a lawful claim to it, or at least not a legitimate claim to it, any more than a burglar has a legitimate claim to a watch that they paid for with money they stole from a bank.
Well, maybe force can justify the means.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Well, maybe force can be its own justification.
How?
My head hurts. Oh, why is this? How can I get through to you?
I mean, it's really not really that hard to understand. I mean, all you really have to know is the consistency principle.
Which, fortunately, the consistency principle is very easy to understand.
If it has a contradiction, if you're there, it probably doesn't apply.
I think the problem you're having is that you're trying to win this conversation. You're not really trying to understand.
My whole life, I've always fought to win, Heretic. I'm not stopping here.
I'm sorry, could you repeat
My
that one more
whole
time?
life, Heretic, I've always fought to win. I'm not stopping here. The buck
this isn't
doesn't
a
stop
fight.
here.
It's more of a lecture than anything.
I mean, I don't approach debates as though it were some competition.
I should just go to bed because we always pick the worst times for this. I bet if my brain was firing on all cylinders, I'd be able to better understand. But I'm really tired. I was expecting a nice Halloween stream, but, it always gets ruined by some political debate, and I don't know. I guess I'm just going to head off to bed and have a Sunday to myself. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.